Hey there, parents, future parents, and anyone who's got kids in their life that they care about. Today, I want to talk to you about something that's often overlooked, but I think it's incredibly important, and that's all about teaching kids about money. Now, I'm not talking about piggy banks and lemonade stands, though those aren't bad places to start. I'm talking about real life-changing lessons that will stick with them forever. And I learned these lessons the hard way. Let me take you back to when I was 12 years old. It was late summer and I was about to start middle school. Now, if you remember anything about being 12, you know that it's a time when fitting in is everything. Your whole world revolves around what other kids think of you. And in my world, that meant having the right shoes. My mom took me shoe shopping at Payless. Now, Payless was great for a lot of things, but cool shoes for a kid about to enter the social battlefield of middle school? Not so much. So she picks out these $15 Pro Wings, and I swear my heart just sank. And I can see a future of just being laughed at and being the kid with the cheap shoes. I begged her for the Nikes that I wanted. Not just any Nikes, but the ones that all the cool kids were wearing. And that's when she dropped a bomb on me that would actually change my life. And she said, if you want those Nikes, you'll have to buy them for yourself. Now, let me give you some context here. We weren't dirt poor growing up, but we definitely weren't well off. You know, those colored lunch tickets they give out at school, the ones where the color tells everyone whether your family can afford to pay for lunch or not. Yeah, I had the free lunch color, and I'd try to hide it to keep it from the other kids so they wouldn't see it, but you know, kids notice these things. They always do. So there I was, desperate for these Nikes, knowing there was no way that my family could afford them, but I wanted them so badly. I was willing to do anything. And that's how I found myself the very next day on a bus headed to a strawberry field. Picture this, a scrawny 12-year-old kid working alongside migrant workers picking strawberries under the hot sun. I had no idea what I was doing. My back ached, my hands were stained red, and by the end of the day, I was exhausted in a way I had never been before. But I went back the next day, and after 2 full days of this back-breaking work, I had enough money for those Nikes. Now let me tell you, walking into that store, counting out that money that I'd earned with my own 2 hands, it was a feeling that I will never forget. You know, talking about this brings up so many memories of my mom, Angela. She passed away recently, and I can't help but think of how much of who I am today is because of her. And that day in the shoe store, that was pure Angela. She wasn't being mean or unsupportive. She was teaching me one of the most valuable lessons of my life. My mom, she was something else. She was tough as nails, but with a heart of gold. She knew the world wasn't going to hand us anything on a silver platter, and she was determined to make sure I understood that. When she told me I'd have to buy those Nikes myself, she wasn't just saying no to an expensive purchase our family couldn't afford. She was saying yes to my future, yes to my independence, yes to me learning the value of hard work. I didn't see it then, of course. What kid does? But now looking back, I'm filled with gratitude for her wisdom and foresight. Mom, if you're listening from wherever you are, thank you. Thank you for that day in the shoe store. Thank you for every tough lesson, every push towards self-reliance. You didn't just teach me about money. You taught me about life. And you know what? That lesson didn't stop at the shoe store. Throughout my childhood, my mom always found ways to teach me about money, about work ethic, about standing on my own 2 feet. She was my first and best financial advisor, my life coach before I even knew what that meant. That experience lit a fire under me. I learned more in those 2 days than I had in years of school. I learned what it meant to work hard, to earn something, to delay gratification, and I was hungry for more. My next venture was selling newspaper subscriptions for the Oregonian. Looking back, it was probably not the safest setup. Some dude driving around a bunch of kids in his van to rich neighborhoods. But at the time, All I cared about was that I was making money. I had tasted financial independence and I wanted more. Then at 13, I landed what seemed like the ultimate gig, working under the table at a carpet store for $15 an hour. The owner, Scott, he seemed like the coolest adult I'd ever met. He gave me nudie magazines, offered to buy me beer. I thought I was hot stuff, a real grown-up. But here's where the story takes a dark turn, and it's something every parent needs to hear. What I didn't realize at the time was Scott was grooming me. On my 14th birthday, he propositioned me, and suddenly everything clicked into place. All those cool things he had done, they weren't acts of friendship. They were calculated moves by a predator. I got out of there fast, thank God, before anything happened. But that experience taught me another hard lesson, one that's just as important as learning the value of a dollar. Not everyone out there has your best interests at heart. You've got to be aware, you got to be smart, and you got to trust your instincts. Finally, at 14, I could get a legal work permit. I started washing dishes at Poncho's, a Mexican restaurant, for $3.35 an hour. It wasn't glamorous work, but it was honest, and I'd come home smelling like refried beans and dishwater. My hands were pruned and raw, but I was proud. I was earning my own way. From that point on, through my entire adult life, I valued hard work and earning my own way. Those experiences shaped me in ways I'm still discovering. So parents, here's why I'm telling you all of this. You might think you're doing your kids a favor by shielding them from the realities of money. Maybe you don't want them to worry about adult problems, or maybe you're trying to protect them from the stress that often comes with financial concerns. But here's the thing. By not teaching them about money, you're leaving them vulnerable. You're sending them out into the world without the tools they need to succeed, to protect themselves, to thrive. Start them young. Encourage them to do odd jobs. Set up lemonade stands. Mow lawns. Let them experience the satisfaction of buying something with money they've earned themselves. Let them feel the aches in their muscles from a hard day's work. But, and this is crucial, keep an eye on them too. The world can be a dangerous place for a kid eager to make a buck. Teach them to trust their instincts, to recognize when something doesn't feel right. Teach them to work hard. Show them how to save smart. Guide them in spending wisely. These aren't just lessons, they're survival skills. In this world, your kids are going to need every advantage they can get. And understanding the value of a dollar, that's a lesson that'll serve them for life. It's not just about money either. It's about self-reliance. It's about understanding the connection between effort and reward. And it's about learning to delay gratification, to set goals and then work towards them. These are skills that will serve them well in every aspect of their lives. Remember, it's not about shielding them from the realities of money. It's about arming them with the knowledge and experience they need to thrive. Yes, they might face some hard truths earlier than you'd like. They might have to learn to deal with disappointment, with the frustration of wanting something they can't have immediately. But isn't that better for them to learn these lessons early, under your guidance, rather than being blindsided by them as adults? Isn't it better for them to develop a healthy relationship with money now, rather than struggling with financial literacy later on in life? I can tell you from personal experience, the lessons I learned about money as a kid have stayed with me my whole life. They've helped me navigate tough times, make smart decisions, and appreciate the value of hard work. So don't shy away from these conversations. Don't hesitate to involve your kids in discussions about household budgets, saving for the future, making financial decisions. Let them see you problem solve and overcome these issues. It'll prepare them for their own financial journeys. And trust me, one day they'll thank you for it. They'll thank you for not just telling them about the value of a dollar, but for letting them discover it for themselves. They'll thank you for preparing them for the real world with all its challenges and opportunities. Because in the end, that's what good parenting is all about, isn't it? not just protecting our kids, but empowering them, giving them the tools they need to stand on their own 2 feet and to face whatever the world throws at them. So go ahead, start that conversation about money. It might just be the most valuable lesson that you ever teach them. As I'm sharing these lessons with you now, I can't help but feel that I'm carrying on my mom's legacy. My mom might not be here with us anymore, but her wisdom lives on, and that's what this is really all about, isn't it? Passing on the knowledge, the life skills, the values that we've learned to the next generation. So when you're teaching your kids about money, about work, about life, remember, you're not just helping them with their future finances. You're shaping who they'll become. You're giving them a piece of yourself that they'll carry with them always. Just like I carry these lessons from my mom. Thank you, Mom. This one's for you.